We are back here at City Hall for a second listening session, and I think this has to do with the drought contingency plan. And every time citizens have to, I guess maybe every time there's a town hall meeting, it's a heavy police presence. As you can see, there's two here, and there's a couple more units over here. As you can see, there's two more units. I suspect the black is a lieutenant, and then they have those in the buggy or whatever you call it. So we're gonna go in here and check. All right, I'm gonna go here. What's up with you?
Thank you very much.
What's this for?
That's for you to sign up for the meeting.
People need to sign for meetings?
Yes.
What law is that?
I just need the date and your name, sir.
Huh?
The date and the time that you came in.
Okay. Okay.
Did you put your name, sir?
I did.
We should have a public first water contingency plan. Public first, period.
John Weber of Corpus Christi. Sorry, I'm not as prepared as I normally am. This is my fourth public comment today. The DCP should be about how we will not run out of water, not what we will do as we run out of water. So page 4, number 2 of the memo regarding the drought contingency plan, staff wants to move a necessary part of the plan from stage 3 to water emergency. If this is done, we will likely never get out of drought restrictions because the reservoirs will never fill back up if we keep taking more water out of them. Please consider the suggested amendment, which is this stays in stage 3 and is not moved to water emergency, and it reads, no application for new, additional, expanded, or increased in size water service connections, meters, service lines, pipe extensions, mains, or water service facilities of any kind shall be approved for projects over 10,000 gallons per day of average use. And time limits for approval of such applications are hereby suspended for such time as this drought stage shall be in effect, unless approved by the simple majority of the council. The city manager made some emergency spending on December 31st regarding water. It sounds like this is an emergency. And so let's set stage 4 at 15% and keep the water emergency, but it sounds like we might already be in a water emergency. When this is brought back to the council next week, I ask each specific change made from listening session input be listed. Thank you.
6 signatures of people from the community that say that they want the drought exemption to end. We need as Andrea said, a measurable, quantifiable trigger for the failure stage. I would also like to see increased transparency of the high volume water users. I think the effort you make toward monitoring our lake levels, our reservoir levels, should actually also be directed towards the high volume water users and should be made public. We need to see what they're doing in terms of their water consumption. I really liked the idea proposed by Carrie Roberts-Meyer about monitoring the water that they're using and using that to assess like water usage as opposed to have these general targets around 10% reduction, 30% reduction, especially with the high volume water users like Gulf Coast Growth Ventures, which actually has permission to use up to 20 million gallons a day, or is it 25 million gallons a day? I can't remember. Steel Dynamics with 6 million gallons a day, Flint Hills, Valero in the 9 million gallons a day level. Like we need to watch what they're doing, because they even conserve a fraction of what we're expected to or what we've been able to, could actually produce huge benefits for us as a community, because the water for us is for life. The water for us is for sanitation, for safety. Their water's for profit. And we also need to actually think about how we're recruiting all these high volume water users, because they're just gonna keep putting us in the same problem over and over again. And thank you.
Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Folks made sacrifices to be here tonight. We heard lady in the front made a sacrifice to be here, and we all made sacrifices. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. I also want to just make some closing comments. We listen, and we've been listening. And I can tell you what I'd like to do is I'd like to summarize a little bit of what we've heard in the last couple of weeks. So one of the things that I think it goes without a doubt is that there's a question about the industry paying into a surcharge, a drought surcharge exemption fund, and that's been established for many years. That fund was set up to pay for a new water supply. And the industry who pays into that whether there's no drought, there's some drought, or there's a lot of drought. And so I understand that there are concerns about that. There's folks in here that don't agree that that is the right approach. I will say that the industry who pays into that surcharge fund, they still have to live by the same rules. They can't go out and water outside, they can't irrigate, they can't do the landscape, they play by the same rules. But they're paying into a surcharge, and every year it's generating $6 million of funding for a new water supply. So I will say that that is something that we think is a good approach. I understand there's going to be folks that don't agree with that. The other couple things I just want to say, and again, I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. Look, I went into this career because I love public service, and I love what I do. I really do. And the young man that's sitting in the front, I heard you say you sent me an email. I didn't see it, but let's talk afterwards, because one of the things I do pride myself on is I really want to make sure that I'm working with the community the best I can. And there's a lot of great comments here tonight, and we appreciate them. We're listening. One of the things that we heard in the listening session from last week was that there was a desire to have a resident-first approach. And I really do believe that, and one person said it, maybe it's not the perfect plan, but it's a better plan than what we have today. The proposed drought contingency plan is a better plan. And here's a couple reasons why I think it's a better plan. So the first one is we talked about optional surcharges. We've not implemented any surcharges to any customer class. But if we do implement an optional surcharge, the current plan requires us to surcharge folks who only use 3,000 gallons a month. We don't think that's necessarily really a fair plan. So we've raised that threshold up to 7,000 gallons a month. We hope we don't have to implement any kind of surcharge. Right now, the industry is paying that surcharge. Some folks think that it should be more. I understand that. But at the end of the day, they're paying a surcharge that's 31 cents a 1,000 gallons. The other thing that we've heard, and we've heard a couple people here tonight talk about small businesses. We get it. It's painful to see some of the small businesses struggle with the fact that we don't have a precious supply, an infinite precious supply of water. So what have we tried to do? We tried to lay that to the extent possible so that the businesses have an opportunity to continue to survive. What does that mean? Well, in terms of the residential user, we've allowed folks in the current plan, or in the proposed plan, we've allowed folks to hand water outside. So if you have a vegetable garden, if you grow food, I think it would be hard pressed to think that we wouldn't let people grow food. So that's something that's in the proposed plan. We heard somebody talk about protecting foundations. Foundation's an important part of your home. Nobody wants to impact your house. So watering your foundation is absolutely allowed. In fact, even putting in drip irrigation and being able to use that is something that we support in this new drought contingency plan. A pool. A pool is an extension of your house. Folks spend a lot of money on pools. So the last thing we want to do is put you as a pool owner at risk. So in this new plan, we've modified it so that you can maintain your pool. We think that's important. So we think that there's some really good things that we've added to this plan. And again, we're not gonna satisfy every interest in here, but part of the challenge is making sure that we have a better plan going forward. At the end of the day, the TCEQ wants to see us submit a plan that works for the community, and we think this is a better plan than what we have today. Sure, we could update this plan. We could put 2025 on it and submit it to TCEQ, and they would accept this plan. But we don't think that is a residential first approach. And there's still some comments that we're going through, and we're going to be listening to those comments and paying attention to them. And then some great feedback that we heard tonight, we bring it to council next week. We'll be a little bit better in terms of having a little bit of succinctness in our messaging, so council clearly understands what it is that we're proposing. And at the end of the day, you know, our elected officials, many of whom are here tonight, will be able to make that call. And so I just want to say again how much I appreciate, you know, this is a good reminder for me and for the team that I work with. We have an awesome responsibility. We don't take our jobs lightly. I know sometimes there may be a thought that we do, but we do really, we really do care. We really do care. So with that said, I'm going to close. I just want to say again, I really appreciate everybody being here tonight. I'm going to stick around. If anybody has some comments or questions, you can grab me. My staff up here is going to stick around for a little bit, and so we're happy to do that. Thanks, Elisa.
That's my councilwoman.
Oh yeah, your councilwoman bought you all pizza. Right. Oh, look, Sylvia there.